Let's get the latest on events in Westminster. It's not even a month and a half since the last Tory leadership election came to an end, and yet there's already talk of another. The rules for such a contest are governed by the 1922 committee. As things currently stand, the Conservative Party leader cannot be challenged in the first year of their tenure. But with disquiet already growing among Tory backbenchers, could that change? Well, Conservative MP for Reigate, Crispin Blunt, joins me now. Good to see you this evening. Do you think Liz Truss needs to go?
I'm afraid the blindingly obvious conclusion is that she must, not least in her own interests, but most importantly for the government to be able to carry credibility and to be able to bring the Conservative Party together to get us back in a place where we can deliver sound finance and sound administration and make sure that the alternative proposition of the Labour Party, who plainly are odds-on favourites now for the next election, that there is a proper opportunity to examine that over the next 2 years and to flesh out the propositions they've got, which at the moment look fiscally rather like the propositions Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng put forward that have come such a cropper.
Despite a new Chancellor, despite those U-turns, you can't see how she can survive?
No, I don't. Not when the principal emotions of people watching her, doing her best to present is some combination of pity, contempt or anger. I'm afraid it just won't wash, and we need to make a change.
You're the first Tory MP to break cover publicly and say she must go. Do you know of more who are prepared to do the same?
Certainly I've had, as this has started to leak out this afternoon, there have been a number of colleagues who have encouraged me in what I'm saying. It is a blinding glimpse obvious. We all know this.
The papers, of course, today full of talk of plots to oust the Prime Minister. Is that your understanding? Lots of plots underway at the moment?
I'm not part of any plots. I'm just making this observation, which does strike me as blindingly obvious. But someone has to say it first. And my colleagues who were being interviewed this morning on the media were faced with the obvious conclusion, but simply wouldn't say it. We do now need to get on and pull our party together for the interests of our country, so that we can actually get back to government that has the confidence of the people, confidence of the markets, and most importantly, gives the opportunity to put the alternative proposition under proper examination, and for the Labour Party to have to address the detail in their proposition that should then mean that in 2 years' time we have a proper contest between the two parties for the governance of the country.
You don't think it would be fairer to wait until the end of the month when we hear once again from the new Chancellor? He sets out his stall and perhaps the markets are calmer.
Well, I think Jeremy Hunt arriving in the government is very welcome indeed, but it's an insufficient part of the presentation to the country to just have the Chancellor who carries confidence. We need to have confidence at the top, at the very top. And I fear that Liz Truss now is almost impossible for her to carry that confidence either with her colleagues or with the country, and certainly not with the examination she's going to get from the media.
How would this happen? The rules say that she's safe for 12 months, don't they?
That's the formal position, but we all understand the wider positions. We all have a responsibility for good government, and Liz Truss will feel it's just as much as anyone else. If the issue does have to be forced, a way can be found to force it. That was shown when Boris Johnson lost the confidence of his ministerial colleagues. Now, I wasn't part of that, and perhaps some of the problem we're dealing with now is the fallout from that. But we've now got to get on and deliver government of the country in which people can be confident.
But can the party, indeed, can the public tolerate a third Prime Minister in as many months on top of a fourth Chancellor in 4 months?
Yes, if it's going to improve the presentation of the government and the administration of the government, and plainly it will.
So who would you like to take over?
For me, the obvious choice, now that Jeremy Hunt has become the Chancellor, that a triumvirate between him, Rishi Sunak, and Penny Mordaunt, and I think Rishi is more suited to the prime ministerial role. Penny Mordaunt has huge strengths in presentation, in assisting both Rishi and Jeremy in making a presentation to the country in which people can have confidence. And so my preference would be Rishi Sunak, who did have the most support in the parliamentary party in the leadership election, and his warnings now seem prescient.
The membership don't want him, though, do they? Or certainly they didn't vote for him.
I think the membership, as the contest developed, you could see that Rishi was gaining on Liz Truss in the contest, but he began with the handicap of being associated with all the scores of ministers who resigned in order to try and leave Boris out of the position as Prime Minister. And Boris was very popular with the members. He was very popular with me. But the herd moved, as he described it. And if he hadn't had to carry that particular burden, I think he would have won the contest with Liz very comfortably indeed. Well, we're now in that position. He has the confidence of colleagues for a reason. He's a very talented man. And in my judgment, was always going to be Prime Minister someday from the moment I first set eyes on him when he arrived in Parliament after election in Richmond in 2015. We're lucky to have him in politics.
Yeah, and very briefly, if you can, if Liz Truss is to go, how quickly could this potentially happen?
The pace needs to be decided by the 1922 executive and the committee collectively, and also in conjunction with the National Union, as well as all the key players in this, which include Liz Truss, but they also include the senior leaders that I've mentioned. And I hope they will pick up their responsibility to deliver government of our country in which we can be confident.
OK, we appreciate your time. We must leave it there. Crispin Blunt MP, thank you.